Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Hawke's Bay Business Growth and Support Virtual Conference. My name's Angela Caves. I'm the Digital Events Manager for Digital Boost. On the call with me this afternoon, we've got Tessa Williams, who's my collaborating partner from Connected.govt.nz. I'll hand over to Tess shortly, and she's going to introduce our guest host this afternoon. Just a quick recap on where the conference is at. This is day 2 for us. We had some great sessions yesterday with Connected and Digital Boost, and we had the Hawke's Bay Chamber on, and we also heard all about Regional Business Partners Network for Hawke's Bay. These sessions are being recorded and live streamed. So we have got live streaming to YouTube, Facebook and LinkedIn. We will distribute, after the conference is complete, we'll distribute links to these sessions and to a full playlist. So if you've missed any of our previous sessions, you'll be able to watch them at your own leisure. Tess, over to you. Thanks very much.
Kia ora koutou. Yeah, just before we get started, know that you can see and hear us. We can't see and hear you, so feel free to heckle James for Africa. And I'll also be on the chat, so if James mentions any websites or contacts, then I can pop them in there. And also if you have any questions, thoughts or issues, you can put them in the chat or the Q&A. It's an absolute pleasure to introduce James Medina from New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, another awesome agency out of the Hawke's Bay Business Hub, and a part of an awesome network supporting our businesses in Hawke's Bay. So welcome, James, and I'll hand it over to you.
Oh, thank you, Tessa. Thanks, Angela. Again, my name is James Medina. I work with New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, and we work with Hawke's Bay companies, helping them to develop their export capabilities and export markets. I'm based in Napier, so I'm a local, but originally from the United States, married a Kiwi, and have been in Napier from 2011. So I'm really keen to share with you how a New Zealand Trade and Enterprise helps companies exporting. Right now, I'll share a screen. I've got a presentation I can go through. Hopefully this all comes up. Can everyone see that?
Looks awesome.
Awesome, great. So helping businesses grow international. Our purpose is to grow companies internationally, bigger, better, faster, for the good of New Zealand. We've got a global network that we call upon. So we have offices in most of the major cities around the world, with people in those offices, and they're quite often located with MFAT, MPI, and other governmental agencies, customs, New Zealand Police. So they typically have a network around them as well. So we've got regional offices throughout New Zealand in most of the definitely the major centers, but also the provincial centers like Hawke's Bay, Tauranga, Whangarei, Palmerston North, Taranaki, New Plymouth, and Nelson, Dunedin. Yeah, so quite a good coverage, so that we can stay close to the businesses in those regions. So myself, I'm a customer manager, so I manage a portfolio of Hawke's Bay exporters. We specialize by sector, so I specialize in food and beverage and consumer goods. So I've got companies that are apple companies or juice companies, wine companies, meat companies, furniture companies, clothing companies, all sorts of consumer goods and food and beverage companies. But we also have customer managers that specialize in tech and services and manufacturing. So definitely, if you've got questions around that are specific maybe to those sectors, I can try to answer them. If not, I can follow up with you. But generally, for our purposes today, it's really just to kind of show you what we have on offer. So we've got over 600 people in 50 offices around the world, multiple languages. We have a strong private sector network partners and thousands of overseas contacts. and 50 plus years experience. A lot of this is based on know-how and know-who, our collective insights, wisdom, experience, and our network of committed people in New Zealand and around the world. Broadly, what we do is we help you grow your capabilities. We boost your global reach. We invest in your growth, and we connect you to other businesses. So with regards to growing your capability, you know, if you're a new exporter, it could be just really going through some training and more of an export 101 and teaching you the basics about what you need to know and how you develop your export strategy. Boosting your global reach could be that you're maybe selling currently in New Zealand and maybe into Australia, but you've got growth aspirations, and we can help you with that. Investing in your growth, so our time and energy and our people overseas, and we've also got various funding programs depending on your capabilities. And then connecting to other businesses as well. Quite often there's a lot to learn from existing exporters that may be in non-competing categories that can really tell their story and their shared experience and help you grow. So our offer to NZTE is really largely based around My NZTE. So we've got one-to-many offerings, and then we've also got one-to-one offerings. So this is an online platform that's, you know, loaded with lots of stories and research and videos and events and webinars and all sorts of content. And I would invite you to go on there on your own. I'm going to go ahead and click through just to show you. So this is My NZTE. There's a Discover section where there's you know, reports, trends, insights, research, upskill, where there's short courses to develop your capability. Attend is where our events are, and assess, we've got a couple of self-assessment tools in there. So that is My NZTE. And again, if you're interested in becoming engaged with My NZTE as what we call a client or a customer, you can register there and a customer advisor will contact you. But again, tons of content and information on there. There's market guides. There's all sorts of things. So we'll just go through some of the services. So market discovery and exporting basics. So usually if you're new to exporting, you may have some gut feel as to where your product or service might work well. And we've got some tools in the My NZTE site that you can go in and you can kind of validate those thoughts and really understand what markets might be best for your product. Based on, you know, the demographics, the ease of doing business, the market trends, etc. And so I'll quickly show you that. And so Market Explorer, so market comparison tool, it's self-driven. There's different categories in there that you can check out, and that's a really good place to start.
These all look like awesome tools.
They are. So in terms of capability, there's Export Ed, which is training, and Export Essentials, which are group workshops, which are really invaluable to people that are new to exporting. There's market guides. So for example, if you're interested in exporting to, for example, Canada, it'll talk to you about you know, what the requirements are, if there are tariffs and duties that you should be aware of, what the business culture is like, what you should be prepared for. So these are all really good things to look at as you're researching potential export markets. We offer resources around sales and marketing. So there's an essential selling workshop, which is really, really valuable. A position for growth workshop, which is really around helping you define your value proposition and your unique selling points. there's a Fernmark license program, which is really around kind of identifying New Zealand made products using an icon. And there's some really good, useful aspects of that around trademarking, so that they're able to kind of track the use of that Fernmark, and it really helps you build your brand with the New Zealand brand, because there's a lot of credibility around the New Zealand brand. A New Zealand Story is a website that has various tools and content that you can access as a business to help you develop your story, and you can use that content in your presentations, on your websites, in your social media, all royalty free. There's the Made with Care New Zealand program, which launched during this last 2 years because of COVID, really trying to bring awareness to New Zealand food and beverage products around the world. And it's been a very fantastic campaign for a lot of food and beverage exporters. I might go to the New Zealand Story just to show you. So they've got this toolkit with images, videos, research, infographics that will help you develop your content and your marketing. There's stories around there that you can share. And then I spoke to you about the Fernmark as well. So you pay a licensing fee to carry that Fernmark, and it really, I'll just go into that really quick. Helps companies with kind of lending credibility to their brand, especially if you're a new brand in a new market. So, gives your products instant country of recognition, origin recognition, leverages New Zealand's brand and great reputation, gives consumers confidence they're buying products with a government tick of approval, governmental recognition of the product's connection to New Zealand. And as mentioned, provides a layer of legal protection to ensure brand integrity. We track these things across key export markets, promotes trust and authenticity. So really fantastic tool, this Fernmark program. Digital has become key to many New Zealand businesses, and really the growth of that over the last 2 years has been astounding because a lot of people aren't able to travel to markets, and online shopping has become much more of a growth channel for many companies. So in my NZTE, there's a digital commerce assessment tool. You can kind of get a sense of maybe where you stand and where you can improve. We have digital clinics, digital coaching, webinars around social media and e-commerce. And we also have Beachheads advisors, both in New Zealand and overseas. And these are advisors that come with years and years of experience in industries. For example, they may have worked for Shopify in their marketing department and know the ins and outs of Shopify. And so if you're looking for some advice around that, we've got advisors that can help with that. We've got specialist expertise and advice. So Beachheads I mentioned around digital, but it could be around IP. You're trying to understand, how you might trademark your brand in China, and you need some advice around how you might be able to go about doing that, or you need advice around intellectual property because you're not sure about how you might go about getting, securing, legal advice around that. We've got supply chain advice. So with COVID,
hey,
it's been really, yes.
Sorry, very quickly, I'll just get you back to your presentation. You're still on your website.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
this is
please.
Brilliant. I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm sorry. I think I might need to start exporting and jump onto one of your digital courses to up my Zoom level. That's awesome. I can see it now.
Awesome. So supply chain advice. With COVID, a lot of companies had real challenges because they were importing raw materials and they were having challenges around that, or there were challenges around their production because they were didn't have enough labor, or exporting to other countries, they were having challenges. So, everyone's going to have particular issues regarding their circumstances, but quite often by bringing in some expertise, you can mitigate some of those issues. There's also Kia New Zealand, which is a network of New Zealanders that are based overseas, and quite often Kiwis like to help other Kiwis. And if you're seeking introductions to a certain business, or you're seeking information around a certain sector or challenge in another country, quite often there could be a Kiwi that's employed in that business or that sector. And Kia New Zealand can be a matchmaking service for that. Sustainability is another area that we work with companies on. It's becoming more and more important to other businesses and consumers of New Zealand goods and services. So we have webinars, we have reports and research and beachheads around that as well. So a really great area that people can work on to create key points of difference for their products. Events and experiences. So we're quite often, we'll have presence at major trade shows around the world. Sometimes we'll have actual country pavilions in those trade shows. Other times we'll just have people that are attending the trade shows. Pre-COVID, we had inward buyer visits. So quite often we would bring in buyers from major supermarket chains or major distributors to help them source products. Major events such as Dubai World Expo, or say the Olympics or the America's Cup or Rugby World Cup, will quite often leverage those events to promote New Zealand trade. And then also virtual events. So we have many virtual events on a regular basis. And I'll go back to the My NZTE and cover some of these areas as well, so you can see the examples. Just hate to jump back and forth. And then investment support. Quite often companies have great ideas, but they're lacking the capital to grow, or for capital, for buying plant and equipment, or for executing on their growth strategies. So we do have investment advisors, and they can walk through your business model with you and give you some advice around how you might raise money, or how you might form strategic partnerships, or how you might look for equity finance options. There's also InvestEd, which is a free learning resource for businesses looking to raise capital, and Money Matters as well. We're also part of the broader New Zealand Inc. Group. So quite often, we can provide linkages then to these other agencies and organizations, and kind of help point you in the right direction. But now I'll go back to My NZTE to tour that a little bit more and show you some examples of each one of these areas.
Awesome, that looks great.
Story. There we go. So back to My NZTE. Can you see the My NZTE website, Tessa?
Yeah. Yes,
All right.
that's great.
So I'll just give you an example.
Got a wee list of, well, once you're done, I've got a couple of things that I just jotted down from your presentation.
Okay, great. So I'll just go into Discover and kind of show you what that looks like. So market guides, we talked about market guides. I'll just show you an example of one of those, and there's various ways that you can search. So maybe you're looking at South Korea, You can go into there and you learn about the market. Is it the right market? You know, article on planning your market entry in South Korea. If you're looking at establishing an entity and setting up operations in Korea, what you might be thinking about there, building your brand in South Korea, business in South Korea. So some really interesting resources here to kind of help guide you on in developing your export strategy. And so you'll find those market guides for most major countries that we export to. You can see Saudi Arabia, Canada, Hong Kong, Ireland, Sweden, Singapore. So it goes on and on and on. So some great resources there around market guides. Just go to export stories. So quite often it's best to learn about people that have had success in exporting. So here's a video around Zespri and their success in the China market. There's a collection around sustainability stories, Fisher and Paykel, and it could be, you know, Trimax, which manufacture industrial sized lawnmowers. Yeah, so some great stories here, and you know, the ability to learn from their challenges and their mistakes can potentially save you a lot of time and money. Digital commerce, I'll show you some content from that. And there's various filters, so you can filter, so you don't have to scroll through pages and pages of different countries and different sectors. And so this is all free, and there's, you know, you can go in and access it. And then when you become if you're registering and you want to engage directly with NZTE, you'll become a customer, and there's a bit of a paywall, so you don't pay for anything, but there's a lot more content that you can access once you're fully engaged with NZTE. So in the digital space, there's some, you know, e-commerce and exporting from New Zealand, digital commerce in the US and Canada, you know, all sorts of articles and collections about social media, digital commerce, you know, how to master Amazon. You know, here's a article from UMA, which makes luxury handbags in New Zealand, and their experience in digital commerce. So some great videos and articles here. Capital raising, interesting, again, content around that might provide you with some advice around the information that you're seeking. So that is the Discover section. I'll go into Attend, which I think is one of the great aspects of this platform. So here's where we have webinars and events that you can register for. So the Export Essentials, I was talking about that. So that's some really good training if you're new to export. You know, women in export leadership, some great inspirational stories there. You know, different sectors as well. So food and beverage, tech, services. Here's one that I'm going to join next week, the U.S. farmer's discovery journey and social media usage. So, for example, I've got some customers that sell to farmers. So how might they look at U.S. farmers, the journey that they go on when they're researching to buy products and services, and their social media usage. So I'm signed up for that for next week. But some great events that, you know, are all free. So, you know, I really invite you to explore this and make the best use of it that you can. Assess, here is the assessment. So there's the digital commerce business assessment, takes about 20 minutes. And then there's a global growth assessment. So again, understand what it takes to clarify your ambition and build capability to become a truly global business. Project Link, this would probably be behind the paywall, but it's basically a service that we subscribe to that publishes all the major projects in Australia. So if they're building buildings or plants, for example, Golden North ice creams, they're looking for vats and packaging equipment. So if you're a manufacturer that works in stainless steel and produce vats, there's the potential for you to go on here and look for tenders to participate in. And then export upskill, so export essentials and InvestEd. So these are all training that you can do at your own pace, and then you just go through the modules on your own pace. So really great, great way to learn. So those are the kind of the broad areas of my NZTE. I'm really interested in seeing what questions you might have or hearing about your ideas and how we might get you engaged with NZTE. So I'm would like to open it up to questions if possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that presentation, James. And we do have a few questions, so I'll get right into it. Do you have eligibility of what businesses you can support?
No, not really. I mean, we go from startup where there's zero revenue all the way up to, the companies like the size of Fonterra and Zespri, the biggest companies in New Zealand. So there are no eligibility requirements. We're looking for companies that want to engage, that want to partner. We want to see the good and the bad. That way that we can help you. We really appreciate an open dialogue. Your business, every relationship we have, we hold in full confidence. So, we don't disclose your business secrets or anything like that. So, we have, base our relationships on trust. So yeah, no eligibility requirements, just that you're a registered New Zealand company. And even if you're not, if you're just an individual with an idea at this point, you can still access the My NZTE website until you get a New Zealand business registered.
Brilliant, thank you. Next question: How do businesses get in touch if they're interested in NZTE support? Yeah,
so I would just go to the My NZTE, and there'll be the ability to sign up as a customer. And then kind of the process, you'll get a customer advisor that will contact you, and you'll have a conversation, and you'll inform them about your business, what products and services you might sell, how big your business is, do you have revenue? If so, how much, how many FTEs? Try to get a sense of what your ambitions are and your aspirations and your business goals. And then from that, they'll try to position you in terms of understanding what your challenges are, and then offer you services around addressing those challenges.
Brilliant, thank you.
If you're if you're a company that is really at the beginning stages, most of your engagement will be kind of the one-to-many. And then as you grow and you're becoming a more capable company with regards to export, then you'll be assigned an individual customer manager like myself that will kind of work with you one-on-one.
Brilliant. That answered my next question. So the next question: what commitment is needed from businesses? Is it co-funding model or things like that?
Most of our services are free. Yeah. So it's really just willingness to engage, willingness to share, because the more we know about your business, the more that we can help. So it's just time, really.
Awesome, thank you. Next question, and I think it is our last one. What is Beachheads?
Beachheads, so they're advisors. So they're typically executives working in other companies, or they're consultants now. They used to be maybe a COO or a CEO, executive level roles. They have a really deep knowledge of a particular market and or sector. So for example, you might need, let's say you're a beverage company and you're just selling in New Zealand, and you want to know more about exporting into other markets, and a Beachheads advisor, and maybe you're interested in selling, via e-commerce. So a Beachheads advisor can be matched to you that has really strong, deep experience in e-commerce in China, for example, and can kind of talk to you and help you bounce ideas off them and kind of validate your thinking, sense check your strategy and any other particular questions. So Beachheads is just an advisor, someone with a heap of experience in that would relate to your business. So we kind of match make you with those advisors.
Thank you so much. That's the last of the questions. So I'll pass it back to Angela, but I've really enjoyed this session and I'm so excited to keep up, and I've left those links in the chat for everyone, including the events and my NZTE and all the places to go and how to get in touch with James. I'll pass back to Ange.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tessa. Yeah, thank you, James. It's been really, really, really insightful, actually, and it's wonderful to hear about the support that NZTE is, right behind New Zealand businesses and getting us on the world stage. So, excellent. Thank you to our audience who have joined us this afternoon. It's been a pleasure to have you along with us. And once again, we do have sessions coming up tomorrow. So if you do want to join any of those or register for them so you get the links afterwards, please do head over to the Connected website and the Hawke's Bay region, and you'll find under their events section, you'll be able to register there. Tessa has kindly just dropped that in the chat for you if you want to copy it out. Other than that, that wraps up our session. So once again, thank you for joining us today, James, and thanks so much for your help, Tess, and I hope everybody has a lovely afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thanks, James.